All right, we're live for the last episode of 2024, episode 14. It's pretty amazing, folks. We're at episode 14, and we named it Wicked Aspirations, where we're headed in 2025. And I think everybody's got questions. So I don't know who wants.
I think I'm going first, right? I feel like
you go first. Go
Well, hi everyone. I think so. We wanted to start this podcast off by just kind of going through, and I'm going to ask the question to everybody: what was your big win for 2024 in terms of networking? And feel free, anyone can go first, or I can pick someone.
All right, I will go. I think I have to say that my big win for this year was writing a book, and all of the people I met because I wrote a book was very cool. So that turns out to be a really good networking thing to do. Write a book. It's a lot of good, gives you good reasons to talk to people. But I have made friends with people that I met in like book marketing classes, and I have connected with other authors. Just the other day, I talked to a guy in Sweden who likes to also talk about middle management, and I talked to a guy who was I think he was in Paris, and he also is working on a book. And so it's just a good topic. It's like a good icebreaker. I'm writing a book. I'm like, oh, I wrote a book. Whatever.
No,
2025. I'm gonna write a book now.
All right, do it. Do it. If you decide to write a book, give me a call. I will. I will help
I've been getting emails, and I thought someone did this as a prank, where someone was like, someone submitted you and said that you have a fantastic story and that you should write a book. Like, we write people's books for you. And I thought it was spam, so I just deleted it. But then I finally Googled it, and it's like, you can pay these people to write a book. So I don't know if it's a marketing ploy or if someone actually did tell someone that my life was interesting. I don't know.
I will say, not that your life isn't interesting, because we know your life is interesting, but I will say there are a lot of people out there that like are sort of like predatory book writers. I know that's sort of weird. Like,
that was the vibe I got.
There's definitely people out there and they're trying to prey on this, like, and they'll often have names that are like sound like really famous.
They didn't sound famous.
Houses or whatever. Anyway, I just be careful with that stuff. It is I will say it is the wild west in the book writing world. Especially in the self-publishing world. I had people quote me anywhere from like $2,500 to edit my book to $22,000 to edit my book. That's a lot.
Well, I'm telling you right now, Jeff, if somebody thinks my life is so interesting, they need to write a book about it. I'm not paying them to do it.
It's really an excellent point. Anyway, all right. Who wants to go next for this question?
I'll go next. It's on the topic of books. Something for a networking win for myself, one of which is joining an organization and becoming co-chair of one of the committees. I think it's really great, again, to not only be a part of an organization, but really get your hands dirty, and being a co-chair of a subcommittee is a great way to, one, form more thorough connections, but then also be able to be a part and have a little bit more game in the organization. So that's been really great. But on top of that, I've gotten into a book club, which is music to my ears, through this organization. So a little personal note, on this like wellness group from it now. And we all do this just because we really enjoy each other's company. So that's all really nice. On the note of this organization, though, I have been able to do some really amazing business and close some really large deals, which really happened incredibly organically. It's definitely not an organization where you're handing out business cards. It's just simply from organic conversations. So personally and professionally, by joining this organization and getting my hands more dirty, I've been able to get book club, wellness walks, and then some really nice deals as well.
That's awesome.
Very, very cool.
I feel like, I know it's like I'm like selling hard here, but now that you've said book club, I'm like, I know an author.
Jeff's like, I could come talk to your book club.
I could come talk to your book club about middle management. Anyway.
Yes, and I did have that conversation that we talked about, actually. So you might be having a little bit of book conversation sooner than you think.
Awesome.
That's a good win for Jeff, too.
That's like a networking win. Here we are. We're networking as we speak.
Well, and on the other side, who reads a book without having a glass of wine?
Yeah, exactly.
I was waiting for the wine reference.
I feel like I was channeling my inner Stephen for a moment there, but yes.
And now that I even have my own Stephen Uncorked branded wine.
It's getting a little
one of those.
Yeah, it looks like an invisible bottle of wine, but that's okay.
That's right.
It's there. That's the struggle with fake backgrounds.
Yeah,
I know.
Man, fake background. All right, who's next?
Well, that is a real background somewhere, just not here.
All right, Steven, I think you're next because it was Amelia's question, so she gets to go last.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to answer.
And it is real. I've been there. It is in Napa. It's pretty impressive. And actually, funny enough, Amelia, I brought the Insperity group to one of those lounges like this.
Oh, I remember you telling me that.
So that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Was that your win for the year?
Well, that was a lot of fun, but
I'm messing with you.
Good question. There's been a lot of interesting things this year, and many of them from networking. One of them I would say is definitely the company where I'm the CFO at now. That actually came via networking. And it was interesting because, at the time I was with a different company and of course, trying to sell the services for that company. Ultimately, there wasn't an alignment there, but there were certain things that the owner was trying to do that I still continued to try to help him with. And so from there, I really kept that dialogue going. And it's, I think, like we've heard in a number of the sessions, right? It's, you do the networking, see what you can do for people. It's not about you. And that's exactly what that was, right? It was making connections there where I could, even though they did not directly benefit me. But then certainly the owner and I kept in contact. He actually invited me to the Patriots Day Red Sox game, which was awesome. And so then we just started and continued the dialogues, I should say. And ultimately said, hey, this could be interesting. You let me know if you want to be the CFO, that sort of thing. And obviously it worked. So I think that's probably one of them. And I don't want to go into a lot of crazy detail, but this one is kind of interesting, where I'm on the programming and sponsorship committee for the Private Directors Association of New England. And basically, as part of that, some of the networking introduced me to the global head of listings for the NASDAQ. And so I had a conversation with her today, and we are looking at doing an IPO symposium in the March timeframe. And so that's probably going to be something that includes, in addition to the NASDAQ, also likely PwC, as well as a large SEC counsel firm, as well as investment bankers and probably a couple of others as well. So stay tuned. That's going to be a pretty big event, and more to come.
That's exciting.
Cool.
That's going to be fun.
Very, very cool. All right, now you have to answer your own question.
Yeah, well, I think this was an easy question for me. We talked about it on our first ever podcast. I think my biggest win from networking this year was scoring a new job. Kind of getting me, not that there was anything wrong with my previous role. I loved being there. I loved the role, but I'm really excited about my new role, my new company, and kind of the trajectory that I'm seeing for myself here. And really having a voice and really building out what will be national sales team, which I'm really, really excited to be a part of that. It's been a dream of mine for a long time to really help build a sales team in an organization. So seeing that in the future in the next few years is something that really excites me and motivates me. And then also, second win is just joining this podcast. I think that's like one of the coolest things that, Jeff and Steven were sitting at a bar and had this crazy idea, and Steven tapped Taylor and I on the shoulder, and here we are. We've had 14 episodes. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I have decided that you all are my close friends now. So it's fun. So if you don't feel the same way, it's fine. But for me, it's like, that's what networking is about, is meeting people, and naturally you find people you align with, and then you get more friends, which I think is like one of the coolest parts of networking. So sorry if that's cheesy, but
no,
it's a big win for me.
No,
and someday we're gonna get on somebody's sailboat. I think that's the
yes.
You make more friends that way.
Absolutely.
But Amelia, yes, absolutely. The podcast. That's, what a cool way to like get involved and meet some awesome people in 2024 and in 2025. But just from a, specifically Amelia standpoint, like you aren't even looking for a job. And I feel like even if people aren't
Right.
looking earnestly in the job market, being approached just simply from networking and others seeing you work your magic and just being the human being that you are. I mean, what a testament to, great networking.
Right.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's a really, really big win.
And I think the transition has given me a lot of confidence in my relationships that I've built that I didn't even think, I knew people liked me, but I always aligned myself so much with my previous product because that was where I started networking that I truly didn't understand like really what my network was. And moving to a new role, that was a little bit of a scary thing of, is my network going to be transferable? Are people still going to want to do business with me? And what I found is that they weren't doing business with me because of the company I was at. They were doing business with me because of who I am and what relationship I built with them. And having that kind of reinforcement and being able to see that was something I think really stuck with me and is going to bring me to another level of confidence kind of moving forward as I continue on this journey. So
that's amazing. And I think it's so true that it's all about the trust that you're building with people. And that's how business to business or sales really works is people have to trust you, or they have to trust that that they're connected to somebody that they trust or whatever it is. So, well, I'm going to jump in then with my question because I feel like it's the next one in the sequence, which is best networking advice we've gotten on Wicked Connected so far. So I don't know who wants to go first.
I can go first, just because I really love this one and I don't want anyone to steal it.
You know that she's going to take the one that I had.
I have a feeling she's going to take the one that I had, and I'm pulling up the exact quote right now. Go ahead.
So my favorite was from Rachel Lee, where she came on and what she asks people at events, which I thought was super ballsy, but also like really unique, is why are you here? Which is such a simple question, but it's such a different question. Like normally you like, hi, how are you? What do you do? And then you kind of get into what brings you here. But I loved the directness of just what brings you here? Why are you here? What are you trying to get out of it? Yeah. Because it puts somebody on a spot, but not in a negative way, but more in a like, oh, people don't normally ask me that. And you get to open up and get to like the deeper level, I think, quicker. And so it's something that I've been trying, and I really like the responses. And I just had never thought to ever ask that. So to me, it was just something that was super out of the box. And I really enjoyed that.
You know what's funny? I am so glad you brought that up because you didn't steal mine, but I've been doing that and I just didn't realize that I got it from Rachel. So thank you.
How's it been going?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it's just a great way to start conversation. Just what brings you here, and then you hear what people have to say.
It's so simple, but so different, and I really love how it breaks up the cadence of what normally how people start conversations and networking.
Right, because I mean, what do you do that is fine, isn't it? But it's just the same question that people answer 15 times. Like, well, what brings you here tonight? Like, what? I think that's really helpful.
Yeah. I think it's a meaningful question. That's a resolution right there. I am utilizing this more in 2025. So,
good. So I didn't steal yours.
No.
So that is definitely something that I've used quite a bit. And the other take on it sometimes that I'll do is more along the lines of, what would be a successful outcome for you today type of thing. It's basically the same thing. Right. But that ultimately does. It gets them to open up. It gets the other person to open up. And if I hear, what do you do one more time, it's like, come on. It's so cliche.
Everyone knows what you do. You sell wine.
Well, everybody knows what I do, but
if I actually liked wine more, I would be like, crap, I gotta get into that business. I mean, but it's you, man. You are like a networking machine, Steven.
So funny. I meet people. I'm like, yeah, my friend Steven, the wine guy. And they're like, oh, I know Steven, the wine guy. And
ready.
And if that is not networking and branding at its best, I don't know what it is.
Steven was on the list of most, the people who went to the most networking events for the Charles River Chamber. He was like maybe number 1 or 2 or something.
I'm not surprised, but that's incredible.
Number 3, but I was not a member for the whole year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that they should annualize it for me.
It's like an asterisk in the stats. It would have been
if they averaged it based on months of membership with number of events, you would have been one.
All right, Stephen, what's your advice that you took away?
Yeah, I think it was K14, right? And basically the whole commentary around it being a marathon, not a sprint, right? And for me, I think that's definitely what it is. And really, it's, hey, you meet some people 10, 20 times before something comes out of it, so to speak, right? And that's fine, right? You have to show up, you have to be consistent. And, again, I think we all know that. We all do that. But I think that's a really good quote. I like that.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I think
I'll go next.
Doing it, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Taylor, go ahead.
You kind of took mine, Stephen. I'm still gonna say what she said, but I have a second one. But yeah, it was Karen for saying basically, she said network is not speed dating, which I just thoroughly believe in because I don't think many people grasp that concept. Not necessarily, people who you're meeting out at networking events, but it could be maybe an employer or something like that. It's just the concept of, yes, absolutely. The goal is to somehow make a connection and do business. But again, relationships and trust, all of that take time. But I will say something, it very much coincides, was Sean mentioned, giving value without looking for value right away. And again, two in the same, if you will, but being able to just keep people in mind when meeting others. And if I can, full circle something for people who don't even know each other, that's such a great win. I mean, I'll just give Stephen, for example, but you are so good at that, keeping everyone at the forefront and looping people into conversations. So I think that's something that just naturally makes people really happy. They're growing their own network through someone else. So giving value without looking for value right away. I'm going to stick with that one.
Awesome.
Well, and before Jeff jumps in, so tying it back into exactly that, there was a whole discussion around having an author write your story. And I do know somebody who is legit in that arena. So if you ever do want your story written, you have to pay her. But I do know who does that.
Connections.
And
someone in every industry.
Anyway, all right. Well, I have a couple that I'm going to do because I feel like you all have hit on people that I was thinking of. So my first one was actually Karen Baldishwheeler's comment about the opening, the way you talk about your business and saying something that sort of gets people, like, what was it? She's, I sell colleges, right? And that actually inspired me to the line I've been using recently about Twinning Edge is I say, how sometimes you say you wish you could clone yourself? That's what we do. That's my new line.
I said that at dinner. I was like, that is so good.
But and I also have one from Sean, just his comment about just starting early, and getting everybody in the organization, all the lawyers who never thought that they were going to have to network or whatever, get them networking, get them involved. And so since I've now used people that everybody else, I actually used last week's guest, Mike Early, who talked about mentorship and how he said nobody teaches you how to network in school, which is really unfortunate. And I actually am going to put a little bit of networking, forced networking in my class next semester at UMass Boston, and
that would be so fun.
Make folks have to go out and at least go to a networking.
That's great.
Jeff, you can even practice it in class. I did this while I was at Insperity. We had like a networking session. So every year we had the big sales convention and there was like trainings and everything. And what they did was they gave everybody a piece of paper of a goal of getting people's answer 5 questions. And you give it all and you say, okay, go meet 5 people in the class and get these questions answered.
Right.
And it's forced and it kind of is awkward at first, but so is networking. And that was a great, for me, it was great because I got to meet other Insperity people that normally, when I'm in an educational setting, I'm just like blinders up, like I must learn. So to me, it broke me a little bit out of my comfort zone. And I thought it was a really great exercise.
Yeah, actually, now you've inspired me for what I want to do in my first class. because they need to meet
Ooh.
each other anyway, you know.
That's
Although it's interesting because I have 2 classes next semester, and one of them is in person, and the other is an asynchronous class. And so I think that's going to be really interesting. I've never done that before, but I'm very excited about it. I was working on my syllabi today, so
That's with pre-recorded lectures, right?
yeah, like pre-recorded, and I'm gonna definitely have like group. I'm gonna put them into teams so they have to meet with each other and so forth. Otherwise, it's just like, I mean, yeah, you can just watch video with me, but that's super not exciting, you know.
No, that was how my MBA was, and I learned so much more doing it, being an educational setting like that, than when I was in person, like traditional school. Because my ADHD, being able to pause your lecture and rewind it, fantastic.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, whose question's up next?
I think my question may be next.
All right.
Being, what are we either, resolutions aspiring for, looking to change, add in 2025?
Yeah.
Let's go first.
I know that Jeff kind of touched on a bit.
All right, yes,
and I know Jeff touched on it, and I was going to say that I agree. It's definitely the in-person events. So what those look like, that's definitely TBD. But I think that we have a goal of at least getting something around quarterly-ish, and certainly inviting the people who have been past, on the podcast. But then obviously figuring out others and all that kind of fun too. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and definitely we'll be cracking down on a venue and figuring that out pretty soon.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to jump in and just build on that for a second, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
I would like to do that, but now that we've just been talking about training young people how to network, I want to make sure at least one of those events is a networking event for, sort of young people, sort of new to the world, new to the networking world kind of folks. Would love to do that, and actually had this amazing guest last week on the other podcast that I'm involved with, and she does this with she actually does something very similar to this with women who have been out of the workforce because of caregiving for many, many years, and helping them kind of get back into the workforce, and some of the cool things that she was doing. She's not a Boston person, so I was trying to convince her to get a chapter open in Boston, so maybe we should talk to her and think about that. So.
What's the company called?
It's called Untapped Potential is the name of the company.
Cool. There's
in 3 different cities, I think, right now.
Yeah.
But they're trying to expand, but yeah.
There's another company, I talked to the founder of it, or I listened to a panel that she did, and it's called Flex Professionals, and it's all about it was started because she was, a EY, like Big Four accountant, CPA, and she quit her career for a while because it was at a point where her husband was traveling a lot and she was traveling a lot, and they had 2 young kids. And she said, okay, I'm going to take a few years back. But then when she was ready to start working again, it was really hard because, people wanted 5 days back in the office, or these jobs where they say 5 days, but they'll like, oh yeah, you can work 4 days, but then you end up working just 40 hours in 4 days.
Right.
So what this company did is find part-time roles for very high senior level executives who are just trying to get back into the workforce, but not really work the whole 40, 50 hours a week. So it was really awesome to just listen to her talk.
Yeah. I mean, is she in a Boston area person?
She's in the Virginia area, actually.
Wow.
The DC
we need to find
area.
the Boston person.
I know.
We can talk to people outside of Boston, but it's just
totally, yeah.
I just feel like that's one of our hard and fast guest rules. They have to be in the Boston area.
That's fair. Yeah.
I agree.
Then I'm sure there's someone. We'll find them.
We'll find them.
Yeah, we will.
But we can.
Sorry, I just took us on a tangent.
No, I think I put us on a tangent, but that's okay. All right. I guess Amelia, you're up.
Yeah. So goals for 2025. I'm really excited. So I will be officially being added as a co-host to Third Thursday. So I'm really excited about that, as having my name on that. But also building off of Wicked Connected. Really excited to start getting quarterly in-person events so we can actually bring all of our guests together and people who might be interested in meeting our guests. I think that's going to be a really cool way to just connect people. And I also want to get back to doing, I did them all the time at Insperity. Stephen has been a part of them as well. Just the smaller, more intimate dinners where you bring, you know, less than 5 to 8. I think over 10 people, it's just, when you're all sitting at a table, I get overwhelmed. I can't keep up with every conversation going on. So that kind of under like max about 8 people, just really finding people who I think will have really good connections and being able to bring them together, maybe bring some clients in, introduce them to other service providers, but trying to get back to that like really like intimate networking groups or events that I like, because every time I come out of one of those events, I feel like I meet however many people were there. I had such a good conversation with each of them. And I feel like I've gotten so much more value than if I were to have just met them out at a regular event with another 100 people there.
Yep. Fully agree.
Yeah.
I always the small dinners and all of that. I agree with you. It
Yeah.
just goes such a long way. Even if you already have relationships, I'm sure
Right.
you know, that's something that you just don't see each other all the time.
Right.
People are busy. So.
Exactly.
You may have to test out a couple of different formats.
Yeah, well, I definitely need to do a blending event with Stephen, because that event, everyone who went talks about it, and how could I not support Stephen? I mean, it's a win-win for all of us.
Well, the thing is, all of you are graduates of the Winemaker for a Day.
I know.
Yes,
well,
I've now done it. I've moved up in the world. So.
Do we get like if we attend a second one, Stephen, do we get like level 2 wine blending where I get to learn more?
I think where you get a next level it is when you do what Taylor does, and you're one of the you know, basically do it with me.
Oh,
train it, you like a co-pilot.
Yeah.
Awesome. I don't think I would be as much as I'd love to. I just think I'd be terrible at that, because Stephen was probably like ready to kick me because I'm not a red wine person.
The sweet ones.
White wine is great. The sweet wine was good.
The French kiss. You like the French
And
kiss?
people gave me questions.
So
I just have fun. I mix random things all the time. Sorry, Stephen. I was just like, it all tastes good. It's all great wine. So can't go wrong.
All right, Stephen, bring us home with your question.
Yeah, so my question is, what is everybody doing for the holidays coming up?
Yeah.
I can go. I have family in New Hampshire, so gonna go see my family, and actually, I'm looking forward to it. I'm getting my nephews and nieces kind of like a day with Auntie, and so we're gonna do the Science Museum in Boston one day, which is gonna be nice, and then I actually have a wedding on New Year's Eve in New York City, which is going to be by far the most elaborate New Year's Eve I've had in years. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
I feel like last New Year's Eve, we just spent the whole New Year's Eve watching all of the Aliens movies. So that sounds much better.
Great.
Well, it would be timely for you to do that again with all these UFOs that we've watched.
I will be doing a Harry Potter movie marathon one of the days. We'll see, probably after the wedding.
Got it. All right. Should I go?
Yeah, you can go. Yeah.
Go for it.
I was sort of hoping to like sneak through, because I mean we've got like nothing planned. We're just gonna be chilling out, and that is always the nicest.
That's good.
To just take a break. So we are chilling out for the next couple of days, and I think I have one networking thing, a Celtics game on Friday that I'm going to. That I was invited to, so that'll be fun.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's a good event, and that'll be fun. We always have Christmas Eve with my husband's family. So this year, my brother-in-law, his brother is hosting it at their dad's house. So he's been over there all day. After we get off here, I'm gonna prep some of the things that I'm bringing over. Right. Christmas is always very low key. So my husband's family is from Ireland. Just for people who on this podcast who don't know. So Christmas it's fun because they have a tradition of having a full Irish breakfast every Christmas morning. But my family on my dad's side is French Canadian, and so we have pork pie for breakfast. So I have brought that tradition in, and now we have pork pie plus Irish breakfast, and then we just literally sit in our pajamas and stare at each other and just like
I'm coming over for Christmas, Amelia. That's my kind of Christmas right there.
Yes. Oh, it's
great.
just it's really fun. And it's just like we're all so busy, we never get to just like hang out and watch movies and like drink wine and eat meat. Honestly, it's just like I don't know if people don't know if people don't know what an Irish breakfast is. It is literally a plate full of meat with beans and a piece of bread.
Nice.
But so it's just meat with me. It's like literally, it's amazing. And then the day after Christmas, we'll be going down to South Carolina to visit my aunt, so my mom's oldest sister. She lives alone down there, and I love South Carolina, and I grew up going down there for Christmas. So it's like, to me, that's my childhood. So I love going down there. We go to Hunting Island where we do a beach walk, and it's so gorgeous. Hunting Island is actually where some of Outer Banks was filmed. So if anyone's watched that, the lighthouse that they all go running up, that's like next to my aunt's house.
Very cool. Very cool.
Just for context, if anyone wants to like stalk me, I don't know. now you know where to find me.
Well, I guess, yeah, I'll round it out. And well, interesting, Jeff, I actually won a raffle the other day at a networking event.
Really?
Peabody,
Never happened.
Peabody Chamber of Commerce at the Salem Country Club. And it's 2 Celtics tickets in April.
Oh, fun.
Well, that was a pretty cool one. Apparently they're really good seats. So I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
And then, yeah, I guess for me, mine is very low key as well. So basically spending it in Western Massachusetts, in a small town called Munson, and basically going there tomorrow at some point, and there for the day, basically. So very low key. Looking forward to low key as I've been going like a million miles.
Yeah.
Makes me tired. So
it's gonna be a really nice slow week. I think that's the best part about holidays falling kind of in the middle of the week this year, is that we all get a little bit extra downtime.
absolutely. Awesome. Well, it's been amazing doing 14 episodes with you all, and so glad we started this, and looking forward to an awesome 2025.
Yeah.
And
we'll be back on January 6th, right? Because we're not doing next week. Everyone gets a break from our voices.
I don't know. I'm working on getting us up and live on the audio platform, so maybe I can get us up there. So
yes, perfect.
Awesome.
All right. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
All right.